I think P1 are pretty good. I think they're pretty unlucky with like some of their sets, like not picking up because they have a lot of game wins. They just can't like close out the match. So yeah, they have like probably even more game wins than like some of the higher seeded teams. So it's pretty unlucky for them, I think, that they can't close out the series all the way. But yeah, MikeYeung's really good. I think that guy's probably one of the best rookies we've seen since like Dardoch when he was a rookie. So yeah, it's pretty impressive that he can step up so much as a rookie coming into the split.
It's just unlucky. Welcome back to round 2 of Team Liquid versus Phoenix1, who are going to have to get a bit luckier to want to close out this series.
My solo queue.
Welcome to
Just unlucky.
Well, again, TL, very lucky this game, or at least playing very well after some luck yesterday, which is where I think they kind of squeezed it all out. Super solid game 1 for them.
Yeah, I mean, they can be very, very happy with this game 1. We'll see if P1 can actually bounce back because that was a tough one to play. I mean, they were very behind very early in the game, and you can be very easily kind of playing from this like defeated mindset, I think, in a game like that. So we'll see if P1 can actually recollect themselves, bounce back, have a new draft, and see if they can play it better.
And I think the nature in which TL got ahead in that game was a little odd to me. In some ways, things just felt like they didn't break that way, but TL did do a good job reacting to what was happening. I don't know if in a more even game, Team Liquid feel as comfortable to be able to scale or are able to make as many proactive plays, so certainly a lot to maybe look at there as we move through, but we'll see what happens here in Champs League, because of course that was one of the edges Team Liquid were able to find once they had a lead. They were confident in Piglet Sivir, who did also play very well.
I mean, when you draft really strong late game and you get ahead in the early game, it's like, well, I guess things are looking up for Team Liquid. I mean, they have Orianna, they had Sivir, extremely powerful late game, and I think that they put themselves in a situation to really succeed with that early game, so they can definitely be very happy about that. We'll see if the pick bans are going to really change up much at all, or if teams are kind of pretty happy with their drafts. I was surprised, as I said, to see the red side ban of Cho'Gath, and TL are going to ban Cho'Gath out on blue side now here too, so I guess we'll see.
Kind of indicating what you said is like, hey, kind of play this champion, or at least currently willing to play it, given that they're banning it on both sides.
Or was P1 red side as well last time? Did they choose red side last time? Because I feel like we were looking at, yeah.
In game 1, they were definitely blue side.
Okay.
So we have both sides.
So yeah.
Casted in the last man for Liquid, joining Cho and LeBlanc. And there's Kalista once again for P1, joining the standards of Caitlyn and Zach as Team Liquid line up their first pick here. That's not Maokai, that's Thresh.
Yeah, well, we can see P1 actually go for the Maokai now if they want it. So they're going to have an opportunity to grab that once again here for Zig or for MikeYeung, able to use that as a flex pick. The double ban on AD carry in the actual first round is pretty interesting. This is something that is strayed very far away from what we were used to in last patch, and it's kind of interesting listening to Mark and Dash on the desk talking about, hey, what actually is the meta, right? Because we're seeing all kinds of different stuff. People are like, oh, tanks are so overpowered, but then we're seeing King crushing, we're seeing Rumble in the jungle, we're seeing Rengar, we're seeing all kinds of different stuff. So generally people are agreed that Maokai and Cho'Gath are OP. Past that, it seems like it's anyone's game.
Yep.
People definitely do not have one concerted kind of agreement, I guess, on what is the strongest picks.
Yep, and I think Elise also very good. Rainover had a great game on it. Then they're going to lock in Sivir as well, actually. So 3 of the 5 the same so far for Liquid. May have found something that works for them here, at least in this matchup. And the Braum was a change there for Phoenix1. I like the Xpecial's Tom Kench, but he's a player that certainly does want to get in there and be more proactive. So this is the kind of champion he's more used to, and I believe he's most played on the split as well. With Thresh taken away, might as well grab it. And looks like Arrow also going to change it up. Much better scaling on the Kog'Maw versus that Jhin, who's heavy on the lethality.
Yeah, and I think that Braum is a really nice combo with the Kog'Maw because the incredible amount of attack speed you get from popping your W on that Kog'Maw allows you to actually proc the Braum passive stun very, very quickly, so that can be pretty powerful here. Obviously, Braum can match up relatively well into the Thresh too. I do think that the champions can both be proactive, but it's kind of in different ways. Like, the Braum is very strong at actually engaging a fight himself, whereas Tahm Kench more, it's about the delivery system, right? You can utilize your ultimate to deliver in a Maokai or Elise in or whatever, and they can start up the fight. So they can kind of do similar things in different ways. But this is definitely much more of a late game focus from the bot lane.
Well, another Cassio ban here for Liquid, who are looking to almost repeat the strategy from last game. LeBlanc's already banned, so they'll have one freed up if they're looking to keep taking mid laners, and Nah was banned for Phoenix1, so we'll see if they change up here or continue to maybe take out Lourlo's champions.
It's also time to find out, is MikeYeung actually playing the Maokai, or is it going up to Zig? If you want to take away another pick from Lourlo, you can do like a Kled or something here. You take what you think he would do next, you put the Maokai jungle, then you're pushing him down even further because they just banned out Nara, they just banned out J4. You know, these are picks that Lourlo would love to play, and if you're pushing him down even further past that, it certainly can get a little bit tough.
Well, last ban here for Team Liquid. What's it going to be? It is Needly, actually. So, just guessing that, again, this may be Maokai top for Zig, or at least not wanting to give MikeYeung the option of playing Needly, because it is one of his best champions. But Phoenix1 going to show us a little bit more here, and there's Jayce locked in, so still some flexibility here.
Yeah, I mean, this could be top, this could be mid. And it's kind of tough to know exactly where it's going to go. We could see Renekton or something like that come out from Lourlo, which generally can kind of just deal well with whatever. And it is one of the most played picks for Lourlo. Gragas is still on the table. You still can go a route like that. But this definitely gives P1 quite a bit of flexibility going into that last pick, because you can manipulate the draft pretty well. Like, you could put Jayce top or mid, you can put Maokai jungle or top lane, and you can pick for any of these roles and then shift around the other picks to the other spots.
Well, there's Taliyah for Goldenglue, and what's the last pick here for Liquid? Lourlo needs a champion. The answer apparently is Poppy.
All right, well, Poppy, I think, can be pretty good into the Jayce, so they're assuming it's going to be Jayce top lane. If they're willing to play Jayce mid, though, I think Maokai is a super good matchup into Poppy. It's very hard for Poppy to ever really do anything against the Maokai, and your Twisted Advance is not actually affected by the Heroic Presence. You don't actually get knocked up because you go untargetable as you're going forward with that, so some favorable interactions there.
That's Jayce mid.
Or a Zig. Yeah, so I think this is really smart. You get a great matchup for your top laner in a tank that outscales the Poppy. Yes, Poppy always going to have playmaking ability, but I mean, you have really strong scaling from that top lane tank. One thing that is working against him a little bit is there's not a lot of magic damage, but I mean, it's magic damage coming from jungle, magic damage coming from top lane, and there's like mixed damage coming from Kog'Maw, so it should be fine from the side of P1.
Certainly see, Pirean has not played Jayce this split. It's been much more of the Taliyah, the Aries, so definitely a change there. I think TL were kind of expecting Jayce to be top lane. It's a big pick for Zig. Goldenglue kind of took Taliyah away from Pirean, so a really smart, flexible draft here for P1 to kind of navigate into some good lane spots. I guess we'll have to see if that converts into, you know, the early game that they didn't really have in the first one.
I mean, you can get yourself all the advantages that you want in pick and ban, but if you can't actually play it out properly, it's not going to amount to much of anything. This is the first Poppy pick, I do believe, for Lourlo as well. So certainly some new champions coming out for all these guys, and we'll see if P1 can battle back or if TL is going to be able to close out this series and move one step up to getting closer to getting out of relegation.
Haven't seen Poppy in a while either. This is one of her first appearances of the split. I believe there is currently a Poppy on the other stream, but it's difficult for me to confirm. Regardless, certainly the first for Lourlo this split, and we have not seen this champion for a while, but again, continuing to speak to the overall diversity of this meta, with the exception again of Maokai and Cho'Gath, one of which was picked early, the other which was banned. It's kind of a crapshoot to see exactly what you'll get, and to me, I love it. I think this patch has been so much fun to cast already. All the teams have different interpretations of what is good and what they want to be playing here, so we'll have to find out. TL certainly found a formula in Game 1 that worked for them, but a lot of changes here for P1 as they look to pick up this win and try and close out the series successfully. TL, though, maybe lining up a 2-0 weekend. Haven't said that in a long time.
No, I mean, it's been a really long time, actually. I mean, last split, they were really struggling. Maybe they had a 2-0 weekend when they got double lift. I'm not even sure if they've had one in the last year.
It's a fun stat we can find out. Pirean, I think it's confetti?
I have never seen that.
Me neither.
I can say that with confidence. I think that's the like the RP skin or whatever, the like Bright Hammer, Jayce Bright Hammer or something, you know, all the ones like D&D or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
I've seen Bjergsen play that skin a lot, but I've actually never seen that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I've never seen the confetti hammer explosion. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Also named my high school rock band. Confetti hammer explosion.
Really?
No, that would be ridiculous. Come on, man.
I was like, that is actually incredible. That's the greatest thing that's ever happened.
Well done there for P1 as they might be looking to poke in on the Raptor camp.
I'm just too gullible. I wanted to believe. You know, I was excited. Because I was thinking in my head, okay, now we get to go watch some pastry like rock videos from high school and stuff.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah, everyone wants that actually.
Oh well, getting the bound. Gonna help MikeYeung here on this red. It's gonna go down real swiftly with a lot of help actually from Zig, but no super leash here for MikeYeung. Just a lot of help on this first buff. And Rainover looks like he's solo on his side, so pretty reserve starts for the junglers.
It's better actually generally to spread out the saplings so they proc one at a time, because the debuff does not actually stack, so the initial damage will go off, but if you have them spread out, then you can pull them in and have that dot up pretty much for the full clear. It is a small optimization, but certainly something that you should do, especially if you're actually the jungler, and you need to be able to do that on your own camps.
Well, to see how bot lane develops again, because that was one of the biggest surprises of the last game. Didn't give Piglet kind of that much credit throughout the game, but I think he did play very well on the Sivir, and he got a massive laning advantage. Just 2v2. I think the lane's a bit more robust for P1 this time, so we'll see if Ari does fall behind again. Right now, looking good.
Yeah, I mean, things looking good as they're getting their early push. But certainly, Matt and Piglet played the 2v2 exceptionally well. I think they transitioned that into the lanes very well. You know, Matt having some key hooks and stuff in some of the team fights, you know, namely the one at the Dragon fight on Pirean, really, I think, was the last hope pretty much for P1 to actually not get that far behind.
Good ward there as well from Rainover. Spots MikeYeung and steals the blast cone as he moves back to his red side of the jungle. Goldenglue looks like he's shoving in the lane right now. And Jayce is certainly a pick that's picking up a lot more popularity in solo queue, I believe, especially. But despite Lucian being a matchup I know is decent into Taliyah, I'm not too sure how Jayce is supposed to fare. And right now, Goldenglue, he's saying doesn't really matter because he might even get a kill here. Needs a little more mana, not enough for that next Q, but Pirean is deathly low in that lane.
Yeah, Pirean is very low. Goldenglue's almost out of mana, so we'll see if he wants to actually stick around and try to farm this up, and I think he will. I'm also very interested to see what build he goes for, because top lane Jayce was actually moving much more into this world where people were even going Blade of the Rune King and stuff. They were going Black Cleaver, Blade of the Rune King, and that had been kind of a pretty big change up. Now in solo queue, I've actually been seeing a fair bit of lethality Jayce, like Ghost Blade and Dust Blade and stuff. I've even seen Black Cleaver into Dust Blade. I've seen so many different variations on it, and I think a lot of them work pretty well.
Yeah. I'm guessing Pirean's going to skip tier, but even that kind of old school style Jayce build is also an option. So looks like Pirean might show us soon because he's actually going to take pretty early recall. Goldenglue sticking around, hiding in Fog of War to get this next lane shoving. Has two long swords. Looks like Dust Blade there for Pirean. Lourlo slams Zig into the top side.
Yeah, certainly looks that way. I mean, could be Ghost Blade, could be Dust Blade, but probably going lethality route. I don't mind tier either. Like tier, generally people stop doing it because they felt like it made their lane too much weaker. It made their early game too much slower. But the thing about it is, if you're expecting to go late game anyway, and you have Maokai and Kog'Maw, and like you have these picks that scale well, then having a tier can be very useful for the later stages of the game to be able to keep up that poke and not be as blue buff reliant.
Well, down the bot lane, Piglet actually took some turret hits there just to get some additional damage out. So Piglet playing very aggressive, but Rainover with a nice track here on the top side. Zig, oh, flashes the cocoon. Very nice there, but he's going to get towered over slightly here. Great knockback as well. Repel's going to follow, and TL are going to get it. Rainover grabs first blood as Lourlo tanks the turret.
Yeah, well executed dive there from TL. Pirean is up here, but I don't think he can do anything. I mean, that is a full HP Elise, so...
Goldenglue coming up as well, but play's already called off.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can do, and the lane is in such a bad spot for Zig. Like, this is one of those spots where you're scared to even TP back because the jungler was just there, and there is a chance that they're camping for you to actually get that gank. In this case, they were not looking for that play, so he's going to be fine to push it in, but if you TP back there and die, like that is one of the most nerve-wracking situations in solo queue because your lane is essentially over. Like, then you're going to lose so much that you're pretty screwed, and here's the play again. This time he actually does have saplings to his credit. That one just timed out at pretty much the worst possible time in the bush there. Rainover went for a really long wraparound, and these sorts of ganks, there's almost nothing you can do. I mean, he had a sapling in the lane brush, a sapling in the tri brush, and a river ward. So like, he did his due diligence this time. We talked about last game how he had not kind of done that. But either way, Rainover's sneaky path gets all the way around him, and they're able to execute the dive.
Yep. Goldenglue tries to steal blue by the looks of things, but looks like that one went over to its rightful recipient. Goldenglue still able to push the lane aggressively and leave, so getting that pressure happening as Piglet getting quite a lot of damage though in that trade. No one in bot lane still backed. They're just sitting on those Doran shields for these ADs, but again, Piglet and Matt Even though the CS is much even, that Arrow should slightly exceed Piglet once this wave goes down. Piglet and Matt have been playing so aggressive in the 2v2.
Yeah, they really have, and there are a lot of windows kind of take advantage of the Kog'Maw, because Kog'Maw is a champion that is extremely windowed power. When your W is up for that massive bonus in range and attack speed, you're super strong. But when that is down, you're very, very vulnerable. With champions like Thresh and this Sivir, you can really look to punish and go aggressive during those windows, so we'll see if they actually try to do that.
A bit of a change in top lane as well. You mentioned this earlier, how tank itemization has just an insane amount of options in it right now. We saw right score from Zig in game 1. This time actually starting off with a Barmy's Cinder. So pretty different as far as that early item goes. Lourlo with, of course, that early Spirit Visage just to shake off a lot of that magic damage in lane. And so far, so good for Lourlo on the CS front as well, up almost 20 on Poppy right now.
Definitely doing very well there. And I mean, most of that is just because of what happened with the gank and the fact that while he's dying, his wave was actually pushing, so it was denying the wave that was built up. But I mean, he can certainly come back in this. I have no doubt, because I think this is such a strong matchup. You know, it's actually statistically the best matchup in the whole game for Maokai. So, like, it is very good for top lane. You know, over 58% win rate in this actual specific matchup. Yes, that is solo queue, but still, that does apply. The 3-man top, though, looking for a repeat dive.
He's also starting in bot lane, so Teal making plays all across the map. Matt about to get stunned, but he walks out of the way with the help of Sivir, ulti, and Zig. Nice ult there, he's going to try and stop, but he gets slammed to the wall by that. Looks like Goldenglue gets a shot back in, but Rainover is going to die. He gets the kill, but a nice trade from Zig.
It looked like he actually dodged the Poppy stun with his twisting advance. We'll have to see if that was the case, but well played to get a trade kill when you're already being put down from this initial dive. Surviving there in the 1v3 and getting a kill back is nicely done by Zig, and that was very important because he is getting put quite behind.
Yeah, MikeYeung also able to steal away this red buff and P1 force them out of this side of the map, given that MikeYeung is also showing presence here.
It's also key because this is not a DPS top laner that is then shredding your turret, right? So they're just getting the advantage of the gold. It's not necessarily translating into a lot of turret damage or first turret or anything like that. So it's much more recoverable than when it's, you know, against someone who's chunking down your turret and taking that down very, very quickly. Poppy is not someone who can really do that.
So TL still playing aggressive. Back to kind of roaming it all out. So watch this one again. Lourlo, I haven't seen exactly what happens here on that route.
I think he twisted advances the route. So let's see. It's going to come out here pretty soon. They're setting up the dive. 3 men come up. Goldenglue ults up there, and he does look to make a play. Nice ultimate backwards to get the kind of extended duration. And as it comes in, yep, there it is. So twisted advance right as Lourlo used that that charge forward, actually stun him against the wall. So that was very well done. Had he gotten stunned there, he would have not gotten the counter kill. So really, really good stuff from Zig.
Yeah, and Zig's kind of getting a lot of pressure right now, so doing a good job avoiding as much as he can. Unfortunately, at some point when TL commit that much, can't really get away from it, but looks like bottom lane's starting to open up a little bit more here. Xpecial and Arrow finding a lot more traction here in this particular matchup. And that's not going to stop Piglet, that's for sure. Definitely a player that plays to kind of 1 speed only, but
late tier actually picked up from Pirean, so decides not to go for the first buy. I wanted to have a little bit more laning power with those early longswords, but is saying, hey, we're probably going to be locked into a long game here. Let's grab the tier, have that regen. I don't think it's that big of a deal because generally, like, it's less important, I think, to get it stacked up on a Jayce than it is, say, on an Ezreal or something who's going to be able to utilize that a little bit better and be able to stack it up a lot faster. So it still should be fine, but he's going to go lethality, he's going to go tier. And this should be a pretty high DPS build against the squishy targets, but certainly less effective against, you know, tanks and kind of the armor stackers, you know, if Poppy gets that stage.
Good grab again onto Xpecial. Actually, box moved in by Matt. They're going to try and go all in. Xpecial ult flashes out of the way, gets ignited by Matt, but he'll be off safely.
Yeah, nice trade there. I mean, they get the summoner, they get the ultimate as well, and they're going to be able to actually get a bit of an advantage there, and now force on bot side, because they know Arrow's by himself, since Xpecial had to go the long way around. Oh, nice hook from Matt.
What a hook into the cocoon. Goldenglue going to shut them off with a wall. Arrow flashes in, but he's got nowhere to go. Goldenglue able to grab that kill. Teal with a great play, as they also take the turret here in bot lane.
Yeah, good stuff from Matt here, moving around the map, getting the hook by mid lane, forcing summoners there from Xpecial, pushing him back, and then they know they can actually pressure Arrow. And not only do they get the kill on him because of the hook, they get his summoners and they get that first turret. So big gold lead now from TL, and that is the first big advantage of the game.
Lourlo also covering mid, so able to stop that from really having anything too bad happen. As Zig and Lourlo back at it again. Lourlo is just going to slam him into the wall and walk away. Takes the blast cone to get to lane a little bit faster, and like you said, early lead once again developing for TL. As we'll watch this dive again. Arrow just not really much he can do here.
Well, I would say what he can do is back off earlier. I mean, his whole team was roaming down, so they very clearly knew that the dive was happening. All 3 members were running down. It's not like they just like, hey, maybe something's happening. They know that a dive is about to happen. They're all coming down there, and he stuck around, and he gets punished.
Well, here's the swap here. Good flash stun there, but
nice
flashes
flash.
out of the cast. Merctret's helping out there, I think.
Yep.
As Lourlo able to get out from under it. Piglet also roamed up here, so even the potential lane swap not going to work out. Back cancelled there for Zig as Matt lands another hook. And TL just playing with so much more coordination than I feel like I've seen in such a long time.
Yeah, it's a really impressive game from them. And this one does not feel like it was just off a chance encounter, you know, in the river. It's nothing like that. They are just playing it better. Some well-coordinated dives on the top side twice in a row. Then they force out summoners. They know that Braum is not going to be bot side, so they exploit that there too. So this is a really good game from TL, and despite it not being a perfect game, this one seems more impressive to me, I think, than the first one so far.
Have to agree. Again, just kind of got given a lead in some ways and then rode it. This time TL are doing a much better job of being proactive and setting plays up for themselves.
Yeah, and the execution has been very high, right? Being able to coordinate for the dive on top side twice in a row has been very good stuff, and Goldenglue being pretty proactive here once again. Matt really has been on point with these hooks and moving around the map very, very well.
Well, it looks like Rift Herald was started but stopped pretty shortly there by Team Liquid as Phoenix1 were threatening around the area, and an immense amount of vision sitting in that part of the river though, so certainly something that TL do want to try and take away. Goldenglue going to go ahead and grab his blue buff and return to lane and shove that back out. So plenty of priority to help set up that next play for TL. As P1 still looking for that first turret. Going to chunk down Piglet here as Arrow's building up towards that first item. Hook going to miss there from Matt, just barely dodged out by Arrow.
Yeah, Arrow has been very good about trading aggressively with that W, and I think that is kind of giving him more freedom to then farm up the waves afterwards. So playing pretty confidently, playing pretty well, working towards that Bladed Rune King. I'm going to be pretty interested to see what he actually goes for after, if he tries to rush towards Rage Blade or if he's going for a Hurricane, you know, what route he actually does decide to take. Because we have seen some kind of mix-ups when players are saying, okay, well, it's not really about laning anymore, it's going to be about team fighting. We have sometimes seen people prioritize just rushing straight towards that Rage Blade even. I believe Apollo did that the other day too. So there have been some kind of cool adaptations there, and I think a lot of itemization choices can be pretty strong for the Kog'Maw. It just depends on the situation.
Well, Lourlo smartly backing off there, because a couple people are coming down to that bottom lane where he's currently still locked into combat with Zig. Matt going to clear out that ward in the back of the Rift Herald pit and give it a slap. Looks like it's time for another round on the objective as the Rift Herald headbutts the wall.
Yeah, going to be able to knock this down. I mean, you have control of the river. You're at a strong point. This is a very easy way to kind of extend that. But we'll see if P1 actually wants to move over and try to contest. As has been spotted, but I don't think they're really in position to do anything about it. So now it's just about how well can they respond to the actual, you know, summoning of that Rift Herald. How well can they shut that down and try to keep their turrets alive?
TLR moving it towards the top lane. Piglet, they're getting aggressive onto Arrow, who's trying to kite it out. Another hook lands onto Xpecial.
Rainover's
here.
here.
Flash out of the way, but Matt with a flashlight moves Arrow back in the stun. Somehow curves around onto Arrow as Rainover able to grab that kill. A double kill earned by the Elise as Team Liquid do it again.
Team Liquid to the top side again. Goldenglue on the roam. Really nice collapse here from them. Rainover coming in, and they're going to be able to pick up a lot of kills. They could go mid with the Rift Herald, which is maybe what they're going to do. I think they have this top one for sure, and Rainover heading back over there. If Jayce actually does complete the base, they could maybe get all 3 of those outers.
Well,
we'll
have to pause for a moment. We'll see what's going on in just a second. But again, TL, really nice setup there on that play. Goldenglue used the wall. Didn't exactly see what angle he took for it, but doesn't really matter. Able to make sure they secure that turret by moving up to that side of the map. Seems like Liquid are the ones that need to address something, but might be good. We'll find out in just a moment.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know as soon as we do, and it seems like it's Matt, perhaps, or Piglet, actually, that needs a little bit of help there. So Piglet going to get checked out. I guess both the players maybe needing a little bit of something from IT. And as soon as that gets sorted out, we will be back into the game. But either way, it's been a lot about top lane focus for Team Liquid this game. And they have been very successful with that. I mean, they have gone back to this same point of attack time and time again throughout the game. Early dives, now a rotation topside again. I think that P1 was aware that this attack was actually going to be coming, but they didn't realize how fast it was going to be there. Because, I mean, MikeYeung was moving up. I think they were planning on 3-man defending the turret, but TL essentially preempted that play by engaging on them so fast, cutting out MikeYeung with the Taliyah wall, getting in there with 4 men a lot faster than I think P1 was really anticipating. And that has felt like what a lot of this game has been about TL making the play faster than their opponents and not really giving them a good chance to react.
And it is nice for me to see Team Liquid actually pick up pace as the series has gone on. I mean, game 1, a little slow, kind of found their nice moments, like kind of reacted well together, but weren't doing as much proactively, and then the game developed, and you could tell, though, kind of pushing the pedal down, going faster, and eventually just the end of the game ended actually very decisively on the Liquid side. Here in this game, much more proactive, even though the early game was a lot easier. And you kind of said this already, that you consider this game to be more impressive, even though by the numbers, game 1 looked very good. And I have to agree with you just with the way Liquid have been playing. And for me, and I have to go back to the man we always look at. It's been a while since he's really overperformed, but Rainover to me just seems to be really on point. At least game 1 looked great, looking good here again in game 2. And even listening to the few highlights we had, his voice just seems a lot stronger. I know this is a player that's really struggled this year and was kind of in a bit of a slump even at the end of last year. So Rainover being back in good health and good spirits and also playing well. I mean, he's had some great cocoons. This is the kind of guy you want doing well when you're at such a desperate point in the season.
I mean, it's honestly been quite a long time now since Rainover has been consistently good, right? Like, coming out of Immortals, he was considered very dominant, but the last time he was in playoffs with Immortals, so like a full year ago, basically now, he looked pretty weak in playoffs. Then at All-Stars, yes, All-Stars is a fun event, but individually he looked very weak. Coming onto TL, that was really the biggest off-season signing that was made really in the Western scene, and people were very excited about it, but he never really lived up to that hype. He never really returned to the level that they were hoping for, and he had wrist problems and had these health issues that you had kind of alluded to, so maybe that's some of it, but we don't really know. And just so you guys at home know, what we're actually looking at is some of the TL players who are complaining about lag. So that is actually being looked into. We're finding out, is it an FPS problem? Is it actually like a latency problem or something like that? So once that is sorted out, that will be fixed up and we will get back into the game.
Yep, and again, TL, I want to make sure everything's working well. Still, gameplay's looking just fine, so but definitely have to make sure things are all good. Small margins definitely matter in this sort of environment, especially given that the play for TL is pretty crucial after kind of sieging up towards that top side. We'll see if we're ready to go in just a moment. Players are smiling, clicking those mice, so might be there in just a moment.
Yeah, the ready checks have gone out, so we should be getting back in, and hopefully there are no more issues and we can continue forward. If there are, it may have to be paused up again, but we are hoping that everything is A-okay.
That's okay. We will guide you through that as well. We're here for it all the action.
Pastry will be here for you always.
He will leave. As they will leave, he'll be done.
I might take a nap, but Pastry will be here.
Certainly will. Alright, so we'll have a look here. Again, siege continuing for TL in the top side of the map. Hook lands, that's nice. Playing MikeYeung back the other way. Don't know if that was intentional, but gonna have to wait for one extra wave and actually won't get the turret just yet. Piglet with not enough health to try and take that down, as we'll watch how this play developed once more.
Yeah, so here's the play again, and Arrow's trying to chunk out Piglet. He's hoping that, okay, I chunk him out, I get the lifesteal, I move back, but look at that hook, and play from Matt, takes the hook in, flash play onto both. They eliminate the bot lane so quickly, and as you can see, MikeYeung was zoned out from that Taliyah wall, so really good stuff. Great execution there from TL, but P1 at least defend the turret for now, and they are looking to push forward.
Yep, Matt trying to find another hook, but doesn't land it. Rainover actually staying here just to make sure this wave gets pushed back out. And Goldenglue again, hard shoving the lane, has his ultimate back up, so can roam there if needed. I mean, Taliyah is so good at getting lane priority. And even though Pirean, no slouch himself on Jayce as far as his pushing power goes, just not quite the same level of pushing and mobility as Piglet. Back to finish the job he just started there and take out that top outer turret.
Yeah, they're looking to push in and do this. We'll see if P1 actually wants to try to set up a play to go for a fight and defend it. MikeYeung is still up here, so it's still 3 men strong for P1. And if you can turn around and play and knock down the opponent's turret, that could be pretty big for them. Pirean actually going Lucidity Boots, which is pretty atypical in competitive play. You very rarely see that on a champion like Jayce. Most people will go defensive option. But I think it makes some sense, you know, getting that CDR for additional poke. You are going for a very poke-heavy build with lethality, and I'm not sure what actually happened with the wall. He just didn't ride it all the way in.
It's range, but Taliyah nonetheless goes over. Lourlo once again covering the mid lane.
The other thing worth noting about Lucidity Boots is it actually reduces the summoner spell cooldown. That's something that a lot of people do not really think about, especially if you have Insight as well. Which is in the defensive masteries, you can actually get a very significant reduction on that cooldown. So he's going to have Cleanse and Flash up more often, kind of more playmaking, more poke. And it makes some sense.
Certainly does. Pirean's had a bit of a rough time here in the lane. Farming up well, does have his Dust Blade now finished, but Rainover again, landing a nice cocoon onto Arrow, but 2v2 looking okay here for P1 with MikeYeung also roaming in to make that an unfair fight. Matt returning to the top side will hoof it quickly with the mobility boots.
And Xpecial just flashed there on Rainover. I'm not sure what he was thinking he could get done. Maybe didn't realize that there was actually a blast cone to be able to just repel out to. So Rainover walks out scot-free, and Xpecial losing that summoner spell. He has been getting picked on.
Bit too keen, Mr. Xpecial. Trying to get aggressive as P1 again trying to open up a bit more space. Yes, they have a kill in this game, but still wanting to kind of get stuff done.
And one thing that you will say, comparing this game to the last, is that yes, P1 is behind, yes, TL is doing well, but P1 does not just get like hard outscaled. I think last game they did. This time it's a Kog'Maw up against a Sivir instead of a Jhin, right? That is a very different story. Here is the play once again.
Braum, yeah,
oh, he actually blocks the wall. I did not know it worked like that. I've never seen that interaction. So that's actually pretty big then that he was able to block that out, stop the wall from collapsing. Rift Herald has to get dropped in base.
It's going bot lane, unfortunately.
I never really love when players do that. I mean, it makes sense if you're going to force a play elsewhere on the map, but are they setting up for that? Not really. Everyone's just moving bot side, so you're essentially just giving your opponents a long time to actually prepare for this and react. So we'll see what P1's able to do. One thing TL could look to pressure is the Dragon.
I was impressed by the speed of the Rift Herald, I'll say. It's kind of pretty zippy.
Yeah, so they're probably going to try to do that. They're looking to go towards the Dragon.
Yeah, you can see P1's like, what do we do?
I mean, no one from P1 is even moving towards this. This is kind of an error from them. Like, Zig could be down bot answering this. You can CC the Rift Herald, so you can actually delay it a long time. You don't need a lot of DPS to actually kill it because you can just keep proccing the eye and take it down. So.
Okay. Well, they did take it down, but I think TL not quite in position to take advantage of even that.
And look at Lourlo. Lourlo behind the turret trying to set up for actually a flank. We'll see if P1 can hold on to both sides. Looks like they do, but at least getting some chunk down on that bot side turret.
Yeah,
still not the most effective.
I think carries were in base spending their gold, so not able to actually kind of time it with the mid wave, which actually was sort of in position there as P1 for dealing with the bottom lane. So maybe a bit of a map mistake there from TL, but regardless, should be feeling okay, and I think they're more concerned about this potential fight around the Drake.
Yeah, Righteous Glory completed for Zig. It looks like MikeYeung going to be going for that as well. So heavy engage priority.
Good double play there by Matt, but he has to flash out of the way. Box is still down as the Maokai also going to make it a bit tricky. Piglet going to have to get out of the way, but Goldenglue picks up MikeYeung on the other side.
Sivir.
Oh, that's not good news. Piglet goes down there as Pirean's able to dive in. Matt's also going to fall as Goldenglue trying to kite it out, but the W is going to follow. He flashes, but only to his death. He's trying to do whatever he can. Does get Arrow able to find the pick. Goldenglue actually coming alive. He finally gets shut down, but he might have saved the back end.
Yeah, big fight there. 4P1 though, they get 4 kills for the 2. Maybe able to get the Dragon as well, and Pirean having a big fight. Zig with such a good flank there from the side, really making it work for the team. And tanks are OP, lethality is OP. Why not have both?
Well, TL tried to start something here, but only found the frontliners, sadly.
Yeah, I mean, you're able to see MikeYeung and Xpecial actually block up so much damage there. Arrow stays safe on the side. Zig coming through. Look at the Maokai ultimate through everyone, and then Piglet. Pirean able to find the Sivir, just deletes him with that lethality. Dustblade adding so much early damage. Nice flash away by Goldenglue, able to actually clean up a kill here on Arrow. A bit of a silly death there from Arrow, as there's no need to rush that kill. You're going to chase him down, you're going to get him. And it's actually TL to get faster back to the Dragon and make things up.
Yeah, looks like P1 maybe still concerned with some of the side lanes, but Piglet getting things started in the bot side. Remember, P1 still don't have a turret in this game, so TL able to play with a pretty significant map advantage. Goldenglue continuing to gatekeep this mid lane turret. Could take some damage there, but gonna be just fine as TL do take that first Drake. Ocean over to them.
The Ocean is actually pretty big, I think, because these are two teams that want to look to poke, want to harass and stuff, like, especially from the side of P1. Having the extra mono regen on Jayce and Kog'Maw who can be able to poke at you is pretty effective. And from TL's side, having the HP regen to actually survive through that, because at this point, with double lethality items, at least 30% CDR plus whatever Pirean actually has in runes and masteries, like, you're going to get hurt pretty badly from this Jayce poke if you get tagged.
Well, P1 again just trying to get some pressure going here. Sidelane's not in their control at all.
Like, look at that damage. That's half of Rainover's health.
Certainly a good siege though, so Rainover getting chunked means that TL are going to have to move a few more people into this lane. Piglet actually here. Goldenglue off to the side looking for a flank, but looks at things. There's a wall.
Lourlo's coming down too.
MikeYeung trapped in. They're going to get played back into the team. Good ult there from Zig to try and make it happen, but Lourlo off to that flank. That's a kill there for Taliyah over onto the Gragas. The Rainover barely dips out of the way as Zig will get rehooked in there by Matt. Still the carries alive for P1 though, as Lourlo taking a little too much damage in the front side. Does die to Zig. And the poke still coming in. Another hook lands, but again onto Xpecial. Oh. There's the poke from Pirean, able to take down Matt.
Yeah, that shock blast is doing so much damage, and TL not able to fully get through to the back line. Zig doing a great job actually peeling up and being such a deterrent. And now P1 going to get multiple turrets, and they're going to be ahead on gold.
Yep, even up the turrets as well, but gold finally in their lead. P1, I think, coming a little bit more alive. Pirean's poke with those two lethality items is just devastating.
Yeah, it really is. Any shock blast that connects on a squishy target is going to mean more than half their health gone, pretty much here. Goldenglue sets up the wall. They're looking for this flank, and they have MikeYeung under a turret, so you think this would be a good fight, but, I mean, good job by him delaying a little bit. Zig actually being so tanky in the front line, able to survive with his passive healing and lock up Lourlo, who's just going to get shredded down by Arrow and Pirean, who are essentially free firing.
Goldenglue also couldn't make it into the fight.
Yeah,
despite that nice wall, so not the best setup there for TL. Perhaps in P1 fully capitalize, taking down two turrets in the mid lane. And all of a sudden, not having some turrets doesn't feel so bad. Sure, your side lanes are a little longer than you'd like, but TL still don't have that mid turret, and they had the Rift Herald.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be able to get two turrets there, 4P1, like you said. The Rift Herald never cashed in on any turret, so Zig is now getting very, very tanky. P1's getting strong.
Yep, and Rainover realizing he needs to repel, does take the Lantern out of the way, but Pirean looking for the stun. Barrels enough. MikeYeung with a big play, gives Xpecial the kill.
That's the jungler, and now both summoners actually got blown on Piglet as well. They could look to pressure the Baron here. I think they could just start it up. They still have Righteous Glory available on Zig. No smite up here for TL. You can turn and fight very easily.
Goldenglue, oh, another good block there by Xpecial. Stops that wall short. Goldenglue can't get a look in. There's actually no vision right now as Goldenglue's trying to get his way in. Zig looks for the ultimate. Going to try and lock down Goldenglue. P1 a little low here, but Goldenglue, he's going to shove them back through. Goldenglue still taking down, but he's kiting out as best he can. Still not dead as Lourlo able to take down MikeYeung. Now P1 stronger is dead as Matt's taking out Arrow. Oh no, Phoenix1. It might just all be disaster here. Zig gets max range hooked by Matt. Roots back in on Lourlo trying to save himself, but Pirean can't even get a poke kill on the other side as Lourlo grabs yet another shutdown.
And now it's going to be TL's bear, and they're going to get this almost for sure. Matt with a big hook there over on Arrow. Goldenglue kiting out the whole team and able to pull out that 4v5 very, very well. Super good execution there from TL, and Pirean feels like he has to kind of try to stay around and get something done here, but Ocean is regenning them back up. There's multiple red buffs that are also regenning them back up, and this is gone.
Spell shield as well from Piglet absorbs that next little hit. Pirean can't see into the pit, and Team Liquid are the ones that end up with Baron.
Now we're going to have to see this one again. Pirean trying to zone out with some shock blasts, but you know, it starts off relatively well. The problem for P1 is everyone's trying to collapse on Goldenglue, and they actually can't get to him. Lourlo gets in and knocks Pirean out of the fight. Pirean actually flashed into that, gets knocked out. I did not catch that on the first time through. And Goldenglue, look at all the damage he's getting done. Just kiting out the whole team as Piglet runs untouched from the backside, pumping out this damage, and Matt with a beautiful hook over onto Kog'Maw. The fact that they try to collapse on the one side of Goldenglue and cannot kill him off meant this fight was going to go so poorly for them. So Really good stuff from TL. They started falling behind, but find a good fight and they're right back in the game.
And looks like another fight could be brewing here. Team's not shy at all. MikeYeung with the big play, tries to knock Matt back in, but he doesn't quite land the combo correctly. Rainover now going to start up Xpecial. He's going to get slammed into the wall by Lourlo. TP completes, but Pirean have already lost one, and that's a cancel. Zig cannot come into that.
Flash on arrow, they could die this
Oh, he's dead. Lourlo's going to slam him. Pirean dies as well. That's just a massacre in the mid lane. As Goldenglue grabbing even more kills. The turret falls down, and Zig has to book it straight here to try and save his base.
They could end the game. They could actually just end the game right now. I mean, that's 40 seconds on Pirean, 30 seconds on arrow. We'll see if they're just going to try to tank it up. The next mini wave is going to come in with Baron buff. Not sure if they're going to try to make the play or if they want to just go to the sides and go for extra minions, but I think they can end.
Inhib's even dead, so TL are going to keep moving forward. Wave is there. Zig forced to burn the ultimate. And maybe even in more trouble. Death time is still pretty long. 10 seconds on Arrow and MikeYeung. TL going to go for it all here. Walk back there onto Rainover, but the turret's already dead. Zig now going to get caught up in it all. Xpecial just too far forward. Hook from Matt. Find Zig, double play. Piglet takes down the Braum, and Zig's going to fall as well. It's just a tragedy for Phoenix1.
The carry's back up. Arrow's just going to die. He walked into that.
Knocked back in by Goldenglue. MikeYeung now going to get played back into the team. P1 just marching back to their death every time they come off the respawns. TL, a very big extender push, going to keep it going. One Nexus turret remaining. Well, that Nexus is theirs.
Yeah, P1 completely out of sorts. They've fallen apart here, walking in a couple men at a time, and TL are going to close out the 2-0 weekend.
So good. Gets another hook. That's the ace completed as Lourlo may very well die to the Kog'Maw. The Nexus is going to go down before they can fall, and Team Liquid sweep the weekend.
They have got to be very happy about that, especially the dominant way. The shades on Goldenglue. The deal with it there from Goldenglue. Vault Boy rocking the new look.
Certainly looking good and playing so well this series. A great Taliyah game. Solid Orianna game there as well, picking up player of the game. And TL, everything just feels like it working. Matt Life is back, landing hook after hook. Piglet playing his old aggressive self. Rainover's doing Rainover things, and Lourlo is even just having strong performances in lane, and then TPing well, playing like a solid top laner should. It just feels like it's all fallen back into place for TL, and couldn't have asked for a better time.
Yeah, I mean, pretty crazy game from them. They got a very big early advantage. P1 was able to fight back into it through some pretty good team fights, and then one kind of messed up team fight by the Baron. Not only does that give so many kills over to TL, they get the Baron, they get one more team fight, they end the game. Like, that game went off the track so fast for P1. It looked like they had gotten to a pretty controlled position, a position from which they could win the game, but TL some really good plays, and I think Matt deserves so much credit for this game. I actually think he played insane on Thresh, finding so many hooks, so many flays onto carries. Like, I feel like this was a really, really good game from him, and one of the best I've seen.
I think so as well. Again, a player that was known for his Thresh in particular. Certainly a champion that he's very comfortable on, but having a huge performance there on that game. And again, TL across the board looking so much better than we've seen in a while. And for P1, it's a tragedy at the end. That's kind of how the fight's out. Unfortunately for them, the season is also heading that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to think how they're going to get back. They still have a very hard schedule. I believe they have Immortals and TSM still left to go in the schedule. They're sitting at 3 wins, you know, pretty securely in the bottom spot now. They are in 10th place. They have to be able to pass 2 teams, right? There's Echo Fox, FlyQuest, TL. Those are the teams that are around there, but they just lost to Liquid, right? They have to play all these top teams. Like, it's hard to see how they can actually get ahead without a really good run. And
they've already played the games for the rest of the weekend. After a close-ish loss to Cloud9 yesterday means that they have 2 weeks left of games to play, and that's it. That's 4 matches to try and get yourself more wins. Like, that is, I mean, I'm bad at math, so I'm not going to do it live on air, but we're getting to the point where it's soon going to be out of reach for P1, who needs something to rally back in their final 2 weeks of play.
I mean, not only does P1 have to play very well, they are at the point where you're starting to hope for your opponents to do poorly, right? Like, it's getting to the stages where it starts to be a little bit out of your hands as far as, you know, not math-wise, but like realistically, right? Are you really going to go 4-0 down the stretch against, you know, TSM and IMT and stuff the way that P1 are playing? No, they're not. So they're going to have to hope that a lot of these other teams start losing all their games.
Well, for a first-hand account on that 2-0 series, let's hear from T-Gon and Team Liquid's starting jungler.
Thank you very much, guys. Great cast on the day. I am joined with Rainover. And Rainover, this is your first 2-0 week since you've been on the roster. Tell me, what clicked this time?
I don't think I feel like it's just because as a team we've been playing more loose and more relaxed since like we were coming into this week we were like the clear last place, and basically we just like were in the mindset that there's nothing to lose, so we don't have to get like feel pressure on the stage or like feel pressure playing aggressive, feel pressure like making decisive call, feel pressure like diving or ganking anything. So I think it's just that like the situation boosts our confidence in, I guess, in a good way. And us playing like practice and scrims and us playing like our games, I think just make us like better team. And by us like having victories, and I think it's like like even us getting like wins on LCS is also gonna boost up our like base confidence outside of like there's nothing to lose. So I think it's like really good situation for us right now.
So you talk a lot about the confidence that you get from victory and feeling a little bit more comfortable, but tell me, what does a confident Team Liquid look like? How do you want to see your team play?
I think we had a lot of problem like making like decisive calls, and I think probably that was like our biggest like problems since like we lack a lot of confidence on like most of the plays. And yeah, I think confident Team Liquid can like go against any team. I think I can play a lot of plays on early game, and I'm really confident on this meta too right now. So yeah, I think it's just like really good times coming for us.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about this meta. There's some big changes in the jungle, a lot of different ways you can play. How do you look to play in this new 7.1.14 patch?
Um, After the Bami news in the heart, basically, and other like tank jungles buffs, there's like a lot of tank jungles like coming up on stage, and I think it's definitely like favorite like meta for me. And yeah, there's like the champions, all, like most of tank champions I used to play a lot, and yeah, basically I feel like even more confident. Like as I say, like we lack a lot of confidence, and like those champions and like those like tankiness, you know, like it just build up like our confidence. And yeah, I think it's just really good meta. I like it.
So a good meta for you. A 2-0 week this week. You're looking to play Immortals next week and try to transition this to some sort of playoff push here. What are your thoughts on Immortals as a team in general? They're one of the top 3 in NA.
Um, Recently we haven't really screamed against them that much, but as we see on them, I think they're like putting a lot of like even more effort like recently after like them having like one struggling week. Yeah, I think they're definitely like really strong team. Last time we played them, we like basically like got like stomped like probably like the most hardest like on this split. So we're definitely like underdog. And yeah, I mean, um yeah, all their players are great, and yeah, they're really good team. Their team play is really good too, so we have to work really hard. And but I think as we going up like 2-0 this week, I think we can definitely beat them. I have a lot of confidence right now, so I can play really well too.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Thank you very much for the interview, Rainover. For more on this series, let's send it over to the Analyst Dojo with Dash and Mark.
Thank you very much, D-Gon. Huge 2-0 victory for Team Liquid and a 2-0 weekend at that. Rainover says the best Team Liquid is a confident and decisive one, and I have to agree, this was the best they've looked so far this split, and they looked confident and decisive in these games.
That was the big thing, is we saw them sometimes when they fall behind, roll over and die, or when they got these huge leads gifted to them. If you cast your mind back to some of those C9 series where they had, you know, a 3,000 gold lead at 5 minutes.
Right.
Or against CLG, the same thing. They couldn't actually turn that into anything because they lacked playmaking. Here, no shortage of that. They're all over the map, top, bottom, making plays, and they have a really nice comp to do it. You see, you know, the Poppy has lane set up, the Elise has a good early game, Taliyah can roam and follow up, and then you have nice setup with Thresh and Sivir. So you have playmaking all over the map, and the big thing is just getting together and actually pulling the trigger, which they did a lot better this series.
It definitely will be pointing at this Thresh pick for Matt further throughout the segment and in future weeks. I expect some teams to maybe target that out because a lot of plays were created by that pick specifically. But then, as you mentioned, the ability to collapse from the Taliyah, the ability to dive from the Elise, and then, of course, the utility of the Sivir for those late game engages.
It's not to say, though, that this comp is perfect, especially when you're taking it into Phoenix1's comp, just because they have the triple tank team comp here, and you don't really have a great way to chew through it. So, like, you need those early leads, and then you need to keep playing well, because if you ever hand the lead back, it gets very, very scary.
And we saw how difficult it was for Team Liquid to navigate some of these fights once the tank items started coming through for Phoenix1. When you've got 3 tanks to chew through, fine, even if you're able to burst one out, trying to get through the next 2 before you can get to the backline is exceedingly difficult. And we have some examples of how those team fights developed for this team throughout the mid-game. Phoenix1 going to be getting the better of these fights just to illustrate what Team Liquid was up against.
Right, you see this kind of chain CC, Thresh, Elise combination hitting the front line. They have vision control. This should be a good fight for Team Liquid, but they're just hitting tanks over and over and over. The Shock Blast comes in, arrow on Kog'Maw, very long range, able to throw damage in, and they just keep hitting tanks for Team Liquid. While Team Liquid hits, P1 hits key members. The only reason this fight did not go disastrously is because Goldenglue does a good job finding arrow at the tail end of this fight to make it end up being a 3-for-1 or 2 overall once Kog'Maw dies, as opposed to a 3-for-1. And then it didn't stop there. They kept having a hard time because this comp of P1 just sets up in front of a turret, they poke with Kog'Maw Jayce, and when you try and engage, there's so much beefiness in the way.
Exactly. You get one tank down to half health or even kill him, and then someone else just takes his place. And then if you get through the second one, you got a third one to file in front of him, again, alongside the utility. For example, the Braum is going to prevent you from getting past him, even with the ricochets and the boomerang for the Sivir.
And that's if a fight's going well for you. If you're losing the game, these tank comps end game so fast with the snowball potential because, you know, a Maokai shoots his ultimate out and flash W's. You flash out. All right, now your escapes are down, and then here comes a Braum, here comes a Gragas. The amount of tools available to a team comp like this it's just like 4 or 5 to your 1 or 2 escapes.
And that's where we arrive at that confident and decisive moment for Team Liquid. I have to say that they showed incredible poise around the Baron. They waited for their moment to strike, and they struck as 5 here around the Baron. Gonna blow the Sivir ultimate with the TP coming in. Actually, it's 4v5, I should mention, because Rainover already dead, but still knowing that this is their time to strike if they're gonna make a run back into this game. Beautiful ultimate by Lourlo to remove one of the 2 damage dealers, and now you see the disadvantage of having 3 tanks if one of your DPS isn't there to sit behind you.
That and Goldenglue had an excellent angle there. He was just pelting them with threaded volleys that entire time, and P1 was kind of chasing him to him slowly. Taliyah is not considered like a great team fighter in a lot of situations because she does rely a lot on getting her seismic shove to get her damage in, but if people are just running at you and you can kite back over unworked ground, you can just keep throwing huge Qs out, and that's kind of what happened in that team fight, as like you said, Jayce had also been removed from the fight, and it was a really nice play out of them to actually take that fight and win it, because P1 just kind of got overconfident. They had won the last 2 fights. They had come flying back into this game after being down a fair amount of gold. You can see, on the gold graph, it goes.
I'm Team Liquid at this point, I'm terrified.
Oh, yeah.
I'm terrified that the lead just went back to the other team that's running triple tank again with a Kog'Maw ADC, all that protection. I don't see myself in 5v5s winning fights necessarily, but again, by getting that Baron and then utilizing the Baron buff to close the game quickly, knowing that, again, even if they let the Baron buff expire, they might be back on the back foot.
Yeah, and that's the thing is P1 feels like they have a little bit of that timidness that was, kind of plaguing Team Liquid earlier in the split when they fell behind, things started going right or started going wrong. They kind of just either threw themselves at the wall and hoped something worked, or you back off and do nothing. You can't find that middle ground. It kind of felt like that this time, where they're coming back in the game. They're like, great, let's keep going. Something goes wrong, they lose the Baron, and then the game just ends.
Now Matt's going to pick up player of the game for setting up a lot of key fights on that Thresh, landing the hooks. Of course, in my opinion, very much a team effort here. We pinpointed Goldenglue in multiple of these fights with fantastic positioning, both to get the DPS out and or with the Taliyah wall, joining in those side lanes, making sure that the early kills come through.
Definitely a complete effort. Rainover with some of those early dives in the top and bot lanes. You have Goldenglue joining in on a bunch of those. Lourlo set up a handful of fights pretty well. That Baron one critically bumping the Jayce out. And then, like you said, Matt having a fantastic performance on Thresh. One of his signature champions. I'm really surprised he got it 2 games in a row.
Exactly. Now, sadly for Team Liquid, while they're going to feel great about the 2-0 week coming through, they're in that place sitting at 4-10 with only 4 matches left to play. That playoffs is already still most likely out of their reach unless absolutely everything falls in their favor, but it still will be a boon to them in terms of getting the wins needed in these last 2 weeks to avoid that promotion tournament.
That's the big thing, is you don't want to have to go down there and fight some extra games for a couple weeks and just have that, bulk of stress on your back.
Right.
As well as the fact that just winning in the short term feels fantastic. You don't need to just go home and go, oh God, here comes another VOD review where we pick apart everything that goes wrong. Like, this actually gives you just such like a better mental state going forward into the next week.
Team Liquid pick up their first 2-0 week in over a year, but stick around after the commercial break for the deciding Game 3 between FlyQuest and Immortals. We'll see you soon.